Hi, my name is Rose Lummersley, as you probably know from looking at my channel. Um, when I was a kid, I always had temper tantrums, and when I was 12, I blacked out in a violent rage and stabbed my teacher. Um, she quit teaching after that, which is no surprise. That was the first rage I had gone into where I couldn't remember what I had done. I always had temper tantrums. I always screamed and went into rages, and I was always very depressed. In high school, I would just read or write dark poetry. I didn't really have many friends. I was in marching band and did go on a few dates with a boy, but nothing serious. When I was 18, I joined the Air Force and surprisingly got an honorable discharge despite many rages. And then I was homeless for 9 months and still had rages. And then I got a job. I got a couple of jobs. I got a job at a car wash, and then I got a job at a factory warehouse, and then I got a job at a telephone manufacturing plant. Well, my job was to QC the phones, to basically test new and return product for functionality, and that is where I had my greatest meltdown. I was fired because I ended up on the, I threw a chair, I threatened to murder a coworker, and I ended up screaming and crying on the bathroom floor. So they fired me, and then a couple days later I knew that I needed help, so I packed up a backpack and walked to the hospital. It was a long walk, and on the way I kept taking Zoloft that I had gotten from a friend because she got it from her doctor and she didn't want to take it, so I had been taking it. Well, what I didn't know was that the Zoloft was making the rages worse. Anyway, my plan was to take the Zoloft until I couldn't feel anything and then walk in traffic so I would get hit by a car and die. Well, my plan didn't work. I was stopped by a nurse and she took me into the emergency room and she pretty much saved my life. So I never got to talk to her again after that, and I regret that because I really wanted to thank her. But what can you do? So I spent 2 weeks in a mental hospital where they diagnosed me with bipolar, and then they sent me home, and I then had a very bad psychosis. I was on Geodon and Lamotrigine, and I thought that my ex-boyfriend was coming in and killing me, so I called the cops and I told them there was a dead body in my house. When they asked who the dead body was, I said it was me. So obviously they sent the ambulance. And I ended up back in the hospital that time again, and they changed my diagnosis to schizoaffective because of the paranoid delusions that I was having. So they put me on risperidone, and then, well, they put me on this new drug named Invega, which they gave me a coupon for half a month's supply. So I went home with my ex-boyfriend, and he bought me a half a month supply, and I was taking it every other day because I didn't want to run out, and I knew he couldn't afford the whole month. Well, in the meantime, I looked for places where I could go to get help getting my medications, and eventually I found out that because I was in the Air Force, I was automatically a veteran. I thought that you had to go to war to be a veteran. Good thing I was wrong. Well, I went to the VA and I got the best psychiatrist that you could hope for, and he put me on risperidone, which worked for a while, and then I was switched to a couple different drugs, and that was in 2007. And I've been in the hospital many times since then, never making it more than 6 months without being in a hospital. I've attempted suicide, I've thought about suicide, the whole deal. I, but the good news is that since 2007 I have not had a rage, only depression and the delusions, obviously. Well, in 2011, in October, I took about 150 pills, all the pills I had. I had 5 different pills, and I took all of them. So, obviously, I ended up in the hospital again, and that time I spent about 3 months in the hospital. Well, they changed my medicines to trazodone, lamotrigine, citalopram, and why am I drawing a blank? I know my medications, but now I can't remember the main one. Well, anyway, I'm on 4 medications, and I have not been back to the hospital since then. In about 13 days, it will have been 1 year since I've been in the hospital, which I think is a major accomplishment for me because, given my past, well, anyway, I'm going to celebrate. Not sure how, but I will celebrate on the 22nd of December, 2012, that I have not been in the hospital for a year. So here's hoping that I can make it until then without going back in the hospital. And I think I can, because I'm finally on the right mix of medications. Um, so that's my story. Thanks for watching.